Everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. And I'm going to tell you the truth about how the Eagles defeated the Chiefs tonight, 21-17. This was an intense game. Good defensive plays, good offensive plays. It wasn't a high-powered type of game. There was mistakes made and drops. My gosh. The Chiefs came out smoking in that first half. When they took that 17-7 lead, it was all predicated because 80, I think the Eagles had 86 yards total in the first half. 80 of it was the one drive that they had that they scored to tie the game up. For the most part, the Chiefs dominated the second quarter because of the fact that Pacheco had many of his 89 yards rushing in the second half where he ran wild. They're running between the tackles. Hilaire had a nice run. And Kadarius Toney had a good punt return to set up a field goal. They went down, scored a touchdown that was big to give them a 14-7 lead to Travis Kelce, who didn't have a great game because he had a bad fumble, but I'll get to that. And then Buckner kicks a field goal. And the Eagles were lucky that the Chiefs ran out of time because the Chiefs were getting in their groove. They were moving the ball and they were driving. And I'm thinking the Eagles can't give up any more points because the way the Chiefs defense played, Snead was very good. He was very aggressive. And they played really gay, made some good plays. Trent McDuffie was fantastic. Trent McDuffie and Snead were all over Smith and AJ Brown. And what Spagnuolo did, and he did it throughout the entire game, it kind of bit him on one possession, but he was super aggressive. They're blitzing. They're coming with different exotic blitzes. They're coming from places that Hurts didn't see. So Hurts held onto the ball too long. They were stuffing the run a little bit. So they're in good shape. And Kansas City has the ball going in. And that third quarter is where Kansas City really going to kick themselves because they had an opportunity, big opportunity. And when Mahomes misses Travis Kelce on 3rd and 3 at their 43-yard line, there could have been points. That could have been 20-7. That could have been 24-7. They stuffed the Eagles again. Then they commit a terrible false start penalty. So now it's an incomplete pass because Justin Watson drops the ball. And Kansas City has 26 drops this year, leads the league. So now the Eagles have life now. Because the Eagles have the ball at the 39-yard line, and they drove all the way down the field. And Hurts rushed for a 10-yard touchdown. They're mentally, psychologically back in it. Now they say, okay, now that Kansas City is showing us everything. But here comes Kansas City driving down the field with a chance to go up 10, and the way their defense playing this game, they'd have been in good shape. But going toward the goal line, going toward the Philadelphia's goal line, Travis Kelce fumbles. I felt bad for him. I love that guy. Yeah, a drop and this bad fumble. And I want to say in the first half, too, that Mahomes had a bad interception where Maillard got the interception and they were driving. They could have really made it 24-7. Then they could have went up 10 and Kelce fumbles. So now it's still 17-14. But they stuffed the Eagles. And then here come the Chiefs driving down the field. And now he misses Watson again on 3rd down. It's 4th down and 4. And do you go for it? I think because of the way the Eagles just drove, it scared. And the way that the Chiefs were dropping passes, they couldn't really go for it. So they punt the ball at the Philadelphia 39. They ended up punting the ball. I've never seen the Chiefs do that. And Eagles drove all the way down. And I didn't like the play calling from Sinceri a couple of times because of the way that Spagnuolo was blitzing so hard. There was tight man for man coverage. I know Snead is fantastic. but you got to go down the field. You got to go down accurate. There's a couple of times he had A.J. Brown. They threw the ball that bounced deep. This deep ball, Smith made a terrific adjustment on a 41-yard catch, and then the tush push, and now they got the lead. And, man, they got momentum. And that was now psychologically on the road. You're thinking, okay, we just got to get stops. And they stopped. They stopped Kansas City. It was a big time. It was a bad penalty. And the offensive lineman on Kansas City committed some bad penalties. Then the Eagles get the ball, and I didn't like the play calling. They could have at least got a first down and then maybe got a couple first downs and get, even if you don't run the clock out, kick a field goal, you're up 7 with that cushion. Even Mahomes go down the field, he probably ties the game. But they don't, and I'm thinking 249. I don't care if the ball's at the Kansas City's 10-yard line. I said, man, Mahomes could ruin this perfectly laid out plans for the Eagles to finally beat the Chiefs, and the Kelce can finally beat his brother, which he's been winless against the Chiefs. And I said, man, this could be really heartbreaking. And then Kelce catches a big fourth down play. But then the Fletcher Cox, it was questionable penalty. Now Kansas City's in business now. They're at the 49-yard line with 2 minutes left. Man, this is going to be heartbreaking loss for the Eagles. But Patrick Mahomes throws a perfectly deep ball to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and this joker this ball tore his hands up. Easy touchdown. Now I'm thinking, I'll say, okay, this is gonna be a touchdown. The way he's running under it, but maybe he left the Eagles too much time. He drops the ball. I'm thinking they're in trouble. And there's an intentional grounding penalty. Sweat. Let me tell you something. What was big was Josh Sweat, another big time. He sacked Dak Prescott in a big sack when Dallas was driving, and his big time pressure with the game on the line, making Mahomes have an intentional grounding penalty in that game. And then Mahomes, wait a minute. On 4th and 25, Mahomes throws a perfectly 27-yard pass that could have been completed by Justin Watson and a first down. Now, if you complete that 31-35, they're going to win the game. He drops the ball. He jumps up in the air, and he beats the cornerback, Slay, and he's got it in his hands. He drops the ball. 26 drops for the year, and the Eagles win. That's a big-time road win for the Eagles. If you're the Niners and the Cowboys, you're ticked off at the Chiefs wide receivers because home field advantage, you had more of a chance with that second loss and the way the schedule set up. If you could run a table if you're Frisco, even if you're the Cowboys and you beat the Eagles have the divisional record and they have the conference record. So you got to hope that the Giants can clip them because the Eagles, even though it's a tougher schedule, Buffalo plays Dallas and Buffalo. Buffalo plays the Eagles in Philly. Buffalo looks a lot better. I'll talk about that. But the Eagles were sharp when they had to. There were some bad moments, but defensively they got after Mahomes. There were some drops which could have really ruined them, but you got to hold on the road. You got to get those breaks on the road in a tough environment. But what the Eagles have to do now is take care of business at the end of the year. Giants twice, Cardinals at home. They have to finish. They got at Seattle, but what if the Eagles don't lose? I'm anticipating them maybe losing to the Cowboys. Niners a tough game in Philadelphia. The Niners have to beat the Seahawks, but I want to get ahead of myself. This is a great character win for the Eagles. They showed me a lot. I just like how they battled because they could have just. It looked so bad how bad they got pushed around. And their offensive line got together. And the most important the hero of this game, other than Smith, had 8 receptions for 99 yards. It was Swift. 12 rushes for 76 yards. Had a long 35-yard run, which set up a touchdown. That got him stabilized. That 35-yard run settled the team in. It's 17-7, nothing's going right. When he had that 35-yard run, it set up the touchdown by Jalen Hurts to make it 17-14, and it settled them in. But then in the passing game, he had 3 receptions for 31 yards, a nice 20-yard screen pass, and he really made some nice plays. And this is the best I've seen him run in this offense. And the Eagles they're still not there. There's still a couple levels they have to go up to. And they better, if they walk into Jerry's world and you're playing the Niners and you're walking into Seattle, the level of offense is going to have to improve a lot. They're going to have to complete bomb passes to A.J. Brown and Smith, because that's going to open up. That's going to allow, and Jalen Hurts look good running. That's going to open up Jalen Hurts to run the ball better. But that was a great win by the Philadelphia. All right, the NFC picture. I tell you what, the way Detroit's schedule set up, the Eagles probably are going to have to keep winning. You know what? I'm thinking about Dallas and the Niners, but Detroit, their schedule, and they got a big game at Dallas, the second to last game of the season. That's going to be one of their toughest games. I'm looking at their schedule. They got at New Orleans. They got Green Bay Thanksgiving. Interesting. At New Orleans, at Chicago. Denver's much improved. At Minnesota, at Dallas, Minnesota again. That's tough. We're talking about that's the second toughest schedule toward the end. I'm going to tell you the first toughest schedule. That's the Cowboys. After they're going to whoop up on the scrimmage Thanksgiving with Washington. I've already marked that down as a win. Seattle at home, and Seattle is, they're good. Philadelphia at home. That's going to be a tough game because Philadelphia probably felt like Dallas outplayed them, so they'll want to send a message to Dallas because Dallas did outplay them, but they lost at Buffalo. And Buffalo's much improved. I'm going to talk about Buffalo in my AFC report, but at South Beach in Miami, and Miami's going to want either at least a 2 seed, win a division. Detroit at home, and at Washington, which Washington could be a pain in the neck. If Dallas slips up a little, they could lose the seeding game if they don't watch themselves. And then Minnesota catches fire, and Seattle. If Seattle wins and it's head to head, Dallas slides out of that easy first round matchup with New Orleans or Atlanta. It'll probably be either New Orleans or Atlanta, which you'll advance to the next round, and you'll drop to Frisco, which maybe that's how they would want it, because if I'm a Dallas fan, I kind of like, you know what? I wouldn't mind if we don't win the division. I wouldn't mind seeing Frisco first. We owe those dudes, but that's still, you're getting possibly a healthy Frisco team. I'm hoping that happens because I can't get enough of Dallas and Frisco, Dallas and San Francisco. So I'm hoping that kind of happens. I do believe San Francisco will win the division. Their schedule now, Seattle at home, they have to win. At Seattle could, back-to-back Seattle games, Seattle could get them Thursday. And then that would pretty much guarantee them a 2 or 3 seed. And then they got Baltimore and Washington. Could be tough. The Rams in the year, even though they don't have a good record, they could just be on a mission to just be a spoiler. That could be interesting. But I do believe because of this win by the Eagles, they're going to be a number 1 seed. It looks like Detroit possibly the 2 seed, very tough schedule, or the Niners. And then the Saints, Atlanta winner, whoever wins that game will probably win the division. I don't like Tampa Bay's trash. And there you have it. That's the NFC. I do believe that's such a big win for Philadelphia because of how better they're starting to play. They're trending up now. So I do believe they're going to get home field. I'm looking forward to Detroit and San Francisco and Dallas and this little round robin setup they got. Well, Detroit doesn't play Frisco, but they play the Eagles and the Cowboys. So that's just, I love this time of year. It's going to be really exciting in the NFC. The AFC picture is completely jambled because the wild card, I don't know if Cleveland, Houston, or definitely Pittsburgh would make it. I think without their quarterback, I think Cleveland loses to Denver. Denver's on fire right now. They're playing great defense. They got after Hobbs. They beat a hot Minnesota team. Russell Wilson's is really starting to find himself, which is a good thing. Uh, really good thing. He looks settled in to Sean Payton's system. He's really this year. Let's see, he's got 19 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, 104.3 rating. Can't get any better. That's as good as you can get. And they're playing a lot better. Buffalo found themselves with Brady as Joe Brady as a coordinator. They're less scatterbrained. They ran it a lot better. They're running between the tackles. Allen runs when he has to. They're getting the ball to the tight end. It just looks, it's not as exciting with Gabe Davis and Diggs go run all over the field. He playing street ball, but they reined him in. Their defense looks like that helped their defense a little. Von Miller might get going late. I love Buffalo to make the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but they'll get their chance in South Beach because they're 2 games back. I like Miami. I like the Jacksonville Houston winner. I'm leaning toward Houston winning the division, but that'll be Jacksonville they'll make the wild card. The Chiefs, I don't trust Baltimore, so the Chiefs and the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs and Dolphins have the same record any year. I think the Chiefs are still gonna get to they're still gonna have the number 1 seed. The one thing I thought about watching the Chiefs that whole second half is, man, do they miss Tyreek Hill right now? They schemed the heck out of their offense last year and got away with it by going all the way, winning the Super Bowl, running a whole lot of exotic plays. But the defenses are starting to not respect the receivers. Even as fast as Scantling is, he can't. What good is that speed if you can't catch big catches? Tonight, the Cheetah would have ran wild across the middle against the Eagles, and that'd have put enough of a scare that opens Kelsey up. And now you could really run the football. But in the second half, the Eagles tighten up because they're like, we don't fear nobody but Kelsey. We'll just double Kelsey. He's not gonna he's not hurting us. I don't think Cleveland's gonna last. They played in a competently offensive coach team in Pittsburgh. So they're going up against pretty much a high school system. So they were going to find a way, even though it was a lousy game. When you're going up against a high school offensive coordinator who really shouldn't even be in the NFL, I don't know how he has a job. You're going to win those games. I don't know. Houston, I'm going to put them in the wild card or the division. There are 2 spots left. Buffalo, I mean, unless a light bulb goes off in their offensive coordinator head, I don't trust Pittsburgh. Uh, they're definitely not winning Seattle. They're definitely not winning Baltimore. Cincinnati's a toss-up with their backup. I don't think Cincinnati's going to make it. Denver, Indianapolis, and Buffalo, I would trust them. If I was a guy putting money down, I would put money down that Cleveland, Pittsburgh won't make it. Denver's on fire with Sean Payton. I trust him. I trust Indianapolis and their running game. I trust Buffalo. If I were a betting man, I'd say Buffalo and Denver make it. Buffalo, Denver, Houston, Jacksonville loser of that game coming up. And you would have Jacksonville or the Houston winner win division, Miami the 2 seed, Kansas City still the 1 seed, or Baltimore. Baltimore's going to win the division by default. I'm not that impressed with Baltimore, especially with Andrews out. But they have to win the division because Cleveland has a backup quarterback. They can't really score. Their defense is solid. And Cincinnati, without Burrow, that's a mess. So Baltimore's going to win by default. In Pittsburgh, they don't have an offensive coordinator. They have a good offense, but it's being wasted. the quarterback play is not good because they're being wasted. If you had Shanahan scheming up that offense what Pittsburgh had, they would probably win the division because the quarterback could play a lot more better and it'd be but you have an incompetent setup and they're stubborn. So they're willing to not make the playoffs just to keep this coordinator. And Buffalo got rid of their coordinator because Buffalo's trying to win. They're trying to stay with the times and win. And I respect that. They're going to get in, and Denver should get in.